You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything. Some people open up their eyes to see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. Then I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And that conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything. You can talk to God, I can find God in anything. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything. When I talk to God, find God in anything. When I talk to God, my daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped the song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decisions of breaking the mental chains of these man-created religions. The faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear it's one hell of a mental illness. No other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. Peekaboos, guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk. Or them stories about a guy walking on water tides. Simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a God when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night and pray to that voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
What up, family? How y'all doing? Thanks for being in here and rocking with me. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has had a wonderful day. My day was good. What's up? Namaste, Jarvis. How you doing? Thanks for the talk earlier today. I may not. Oh, Joanne, I appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the show. I'm using these things that y'all are supporting me with and helping me with get more books and things out. And I'm working on some things that maybe give y'all some ebooks and some things in the future so that we can keep things rocking. What's up, James? Good to see you, fam. What I'm gonna do on tonight, y'all. Y'all are welcome to come on and join me. I did post a link. I don't know if you're interested or if y'all can click on that. If you're on YouTube, it should be showing on Facebook. But if you want to me to send you the link, what up, Chris? Man, every time I say that to you, I think about Crisscross, bro. Every time I say that, it's crazy. So anyway, like I said, I was gonna have a guest tonight, but he had some things to do with his significant other, so we're going to expect perhaps Richie Garfield to be with us on Thursday night. Y'all know I take the Wednesday off, and I know a lot of y'all probably out there doing your thing. Some of y'all are into the holidays, no problem with that. Not my cup of tea. I'm not really big in it. Caught two lives in the road. Thanks, Maurice. Hey, man, bro. I appreciate the support. I appreciate your comments and the things that you're saying in the threads, y'all. Every little bit helps. I'm not just out here trying to make people mad. I'm literally out here trying to give some insight or provide those who I know are listening. What I'm finding out when I do get around certain Christian friends or Christians I haven't seen in a while, they are seeing the show. They are thinking about it. So I just got to keep pressing, keep doing what I'm doing because I think it's important. I think it's worth it. And besides, like I always say, I gave 20 years of my life to this. I went to school for it, found out that this stuff isn't what I thought it was. And that's where my skill set lies. And plus, if I'm honest, okay, I'm honest. I do enjoy the confrontational conversation that comes up in it. I do like that type of conversation, but And I don't want to disrespect nobody. I don't want nobody to disrespect me. Tonight, if y'all don't come on, even if you do, I have about 6 things, maybe really 3 or 4 that'll hold us. But once I get through my topics, if y'all not in here, then we'll make this a short live. Keep in mind, we're still planning on have Brady Goodwin come through in the future. We've been talking about that, and this month we've been talking about whether or not or how Christianity does it hurt black people. Don't get offended by the phrase black. I'm just using what is commonly used among people, melanated, whatever your term is. That's the word. That's the term I prefer to be melanated. So I want to talk about like parenting. Okay, has Christianity hurt us when it comes to our parenting? And I'm gonna give a few texts up on the screen. I want to talk about education briefly and how the belief in the God of the gaps, because that's a big one. A lot of people don't know what that is when you're in religion. You don't even know what the God of the gaps is. Basically, is if you can't explain it, then therefore God. I want to talk about how that can be a problem, and some of these are not unique to melanated people. So we're just using that and causing attention to come to the melanated plight here in these states as it relates to Christianity. It is that month, even though y'all know this history is 365 days a year. So I just want to bring that out. Wealth. I want to talk about wealth tonight, just briefly. And I actually want to give a story. I'm going to connect wealth, business, community building, and politics all in maybe one short topic tonight, because I got a story to share with you. When I was the minister of the West Side Church of Christ here in Jacksonville, a friend of mine who is no longer living, rest in power, George Carter. He actually taught me how to golf. But I want to share with you a story that this man shared with me in the car one day, and why he did not pursue, okay, his career in politics. So I want to talk about that. Maybe we'll get into the relationship in the gender roles. Maybe we'll get into that. I'm not so sure. I'm as powerful on that. If you want to come on and help me out, hey, come on. But then maybe I'll top this off. I got a video for y'all. I've shown it before, or something about, y'all know who Kimberly Daniels is. If you're in Jacksonville, I think you probably heard more about it. But do y'all know who Kimberly Daniels is? And I want to use a clip from her preaching to talk about the self-image that Christianity has given melanated people here in this country. So let me see what you're saying in the comments. I think it dominates a child's choices to think. Good insight, James. Good insight. So without further ado, let's do this right here. Let's do this. I want to talk about parenting. Y'all know I don't know about y'all, but getting whoopings, whatever you want to call it, whoopings, beatings, spanked, discipline, all of that is deeply ingrained in our culture here in America. But a lot of people will tell you that it's there because of what it says in the Bible, and many parents, many people before us, our in our lineage, feel that it was necessary, or this was the way to rear your child. You had to beat them physically. Okay, and I'm gonna get into some scriptures up here on the screen in a minute. And that psychological indoctrination starts while they are in the womb. Thanks, Jarvis, for that. So, without further ado, let's see. Here's some scriptures. Some of y'all might be familiar with this. This is one I heard come out of my mother's mouth at some point in time. I don't remember how old I was when she said it, but it did come up. And that's Proverbs 22:15. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Now, we know children are children. Children may not have the same self-control. They're here to learn. They're going to learn certain things. But make no mistake, when the Bible says rod, this is not metaphorical. Okay, this is not time for the theist to jump in and say, well, that rod is not a literal rod because where's that? There is a text here I'm going to show you. And mostly all of these are in Proverbs. The rod meant what it meant. It meant to physically strike the child. Okay. And anytime they were using these rods in the Bible, that's what it meant. It meant to physically hit this individual. Now, we get round the table and we joke in our African American culture and our melanated culture, and we joke about these things. I tell we tell stories about the whoopings and stuff we got, and it's funny looking back on it. But I have to ask: do some of y'all feel that? Do you feel that this is good for us? Now, I'm no psychologist or whatever, but I don't think I have to be to talk about that. That's not always good for everybody. I'm sure if you have children, you may even know what I'm going to say is true. Not every child needs to be physically whipped. Maybe not at all, but I'm just saying, let's just take it slow. Not every child requires that in order to correct their mistakes. That's just a fact. That's just what we see out here. You don't need your eyes knocked out of your head, because you had a bad day at school. You don't need your lip busted because you got a detention. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going? But so many of our parents, our grandparents, our great great grandparents, this thing was passed down not simply because that's just what they were doing, but because the culture of slavery, where they were, and it was supported by a text that they believe came from a God. It was supported by this text. So they thought if they didn't do it, they were not raising their children correctly or according to the way the creator would have them raise their child. It's not coming from that type of discipline. I totally agree. Okay, so and I'm gonna give you some other scriptures I'm gonna put up here. What about this one? Y'all, maybe you've heard this one. If you didn't hear, you probably heard one of these growing up, especially if you grew up in a Christian household. Proverbs 23. This is how I know it's not talking in some figurative way about what to do with this so-called rod. Proverbs 23, verse 13 and 14. Withhold not correction from the child. And look at what it says right there clearly. For if thou beatest him with the rod, there's the rod, he shall not die. Maybe, because some people take it too far. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and shall deliver his soul from hell, because you don't want to go to hell, right? That brings me to something me and Jarvis were talking about earlier today, and let me get comfortable for a minute, because Jarvis has been asking the question, and I think it's a good question, as to whether or not the God of the Bible is this loving father figure that he's been portrayed as in Christianity. Now, again, I state we're talking about how this affects melanated people, but many of these things affect they affect everybody. But I'm just trying to focus in now, since the father figure stereotypically, at least, has been an issue in melanated households. I think it's good to talk about what a good father figure is. Now, even if the father is present, if he beating the snot out of the children, I don't know that that's the presence you want to have. I don't think we really want that. And when we go back to the Bible to find an example, if God is going to be your example, think about what that means. You're talking about an entity that is all powerful, all knowing, according to the teaching, doesn't need us, but created us and created us flawed And because he created us flawed and we come here and then we evaluate things like I'm trying to do, and I'm looking at it, the evidence I'm using the so-called senses that he gave me, and I'm arriving at the conclusion that that God don't exist. Now I'm supposed to be sentenced to a hell, not just for a long time, but forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. Now, why is that important? Because I have to think. I'm a father. I don't know how many of y'all out there have children. I have a. I can't really think of anything that would allow me to be okay with an eternal punishment for my kids or my child, and not only eternal, a burning. Okay, forever does not end. A billion years is not long enough. This is the type of thinking that religion and Christianity requires. It requires you to think little of yourself. I don't want to get to self-image right now because I want to show y'all the clip of Kimberly Daniels. But this is the type of thinking that tears your image down to the point where you can stoop this low and think that it is okay. So I just want to bring that point out, see what y'all gonna say about it in the chat. You are definitely tapping into, let's put this comment up and take this thing off here. James says, you are definitely tapping into some of my childhood tonight. I wish my father had been a communicator more so than running to a belt to prove his point, especially after my mother died. I really went through something. Man, James, I'm sorry to hear that. And let me say, um, full disclosure, I did. I did utilize corporal punishment to punish my kids. Just so y'all know, I have three children. One that is in his early 20s. My second son, he will be 20 in April, and I have a daughter who turned 16 in December. My first son, I did not live with him. He and his mother, they were out and still out in New Mexico. I was not in his life as I should have been, or very much would have liked to be. Distance was a problem there. That's a long story I can get into another day. Now, my last two was in my former marriage, and I did utilize corporal punishment in discipline. And looking back on it, I don't I don't think that that was a good idea, or that I would have had to have done it. And I was telling Jarvis a story earlier today when we were on the phone. By the way, I'll put the just in case anybody's didn't see the link and you do want to come on and have this convo with me. I'll put it there one more time. And I don't remember what my daughter did, but I remember she was old enough she made a mistake, and I looked at her and I told her how disappointed I was. And when I tell y'all, coming from her father, that she broke down, she boohoo cried. I think she ran in the room and put her face in the pillow. She was really, I guess, down that she had let her father down. And I should have known right then, it really, you don't have to, even if you are going to use corporal punishment, which I'm not, so I don't think we should go there. But if you are, pay attention to who your kids are, because that's not always necessary. Okay, you can do more damage with it, because this book, as we're seeing, it does not come from an all-knowing source. It literally comes from men, and this is why we have so many problems with it. I mean, a creator would know what to say for there to be no doubt. A creator would know what to put in this book where there would be no rebuttals. Okay, he would know, but obviously that's just not the case. Thanks, James. So I want to say, that, I mean, sometimes you'll get those that will say, hey, I think when I had Willie on last night, one of the things I used to hear from my mom, I'm gonna beat you so the police don't beat you, or because they'll kill you, right? Right. And we just saw it in the. Let me bring that passage of scripture back up here. It says, "With not withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with a rod, he shall not die." If thou, if thou beat him with a rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell. Now, I grew up with that. Maybe you believe that. Maybe you believe if your parents wouldn't have done that, and that's what you needed. Maybe some of y'all can admit that. Maybe you can admit you needed that to be a threat in order to keep you on a straight and narrow till you got to a certain point. Maybe you did. But at least let us recognize that's not everybody. Everybody does not need that same type of discipline. But according to the Bible, it doesn't tell you that. As a matter of fact, I have the passage. Hate it. I need to get that one. Let's put this one up on the screen. The rod of reproof give wisdom. Not sure what wisdom it gives when you getting a beating. You can say, well, because of what you did, I'm gonna go ahead and beat you. That's your punishment. But is it really teaching a lesson? I think sometimes we need to take time to really talk to our children and explain, break some things down, show them. I remember one time, I'll say this, even though I did get whippings, beatings, whatever you want to call them, as a child, I think one of the most impactful things my mother did when I got bad grades, I'll tell y'all this story before before I move on to the next topic. Let me, as two comments in here, and I'm gonna read those two comments. They're a little long, so give me a second to get to them. I'll tell y'all this story right quick. But what was powerful for me, I think I was in sixth grade, y'all, and I tell the story to the kids I work with at a middle school here in Jacksonville. I tell them this all the time. I had a report card that had four F's, a D, and an A in it. In the class I had an A in, I had the highest grade in the class. I think I had a 96% in that class. And that was music. That was music. My mom worked very hard. She could not afford to put me in a program. There was this little rubber. I wanted to play drums. I wanted to get into music and get out because I lived in the hood and all that good stuff. But I wanted to get into that, and I couldn't get into it because mom couldn't afford the equipment needed for me to learn how to play the drums. Plus, I had a little brother who's 9 years younger than me, so I had to get home and I had to babysit my little brother until mom got home. I said all that. Why did I tell y'all all that? Okay, I said all that to say what she did that was powerful. When I got that report card, she walked me around the neighborhood, showing me and pointing out to me the homeless people in front of the A1 corner store that's down there on Pembroke Road. I think it's 54th Avenue in Hollywood, Florida. If you familiar or know somebody from the area, she showed me them people. She showed me, y'all know how the guys used to hang out under the tree all day, sitting on milk crates, talking smack. She showed me them guys, and she was like, "Look, this is where you going." She showed me the crack addicts and things that was right there in our neighborhood. And I remember looking at that like, man, no, no, I didn't want to be. I did not want to be that. And she went on. I still got some other whoopings for some other stuff, but I didn't make straight A's after that, but that stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? I understood how important staying out of the legal system was, and getting my education, how important that was going to be. It didn't come from her just beating my behind over for. I didn't get a whooping that report card. I don't think I did. I don't know. The point is, I do remember her taking me around and showing me those things. There are other ways you can communicate with your kids, especially when they get to a certain point. Okay, especially when they get to a certain point. So let me see what the comment says right quick. James says, put it up here. First, let me start off with Jarvis's comment, and then we'll go to James, and then we'll go to Chris. I'm gonna interact with the chat as much as I can since I don't have a guest tonight. Jarvis says, simply ask yourself, does the God of the Bible describe a parent-child relationship? We are supposed to be his offspring according to the scriptures, a spiritual sperm. And I agree with you, Jarvis. Even if it's supposed to describe a father parent relationship or just a parent relationship, I don't think it's a healthy one. I think it's abusive. I think um it's definitely threatening, and there's just no way. There's no way I'm going to threaten my kids with eternal hell fire. Especially when you think about the things that you did. That would be like, I don't know. That would be like, you know, me punishing my kids. Or all right, so creating them, that would be like me punishing my kids for not being 7 feet tall. Okay, I'm a short guy. Why would I punish my kids for not being 7 feet tall when I don't have that in my DNA? You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. But God made us or whatever, and he's who he is, but yet he made us flawed. God is perfect. So what is he doing making us flawed? Why did Adam and Eve mess up in the story? How could they mess up? They're supposedly come handmade from the creator. Shouldn't have messed up, right? That's some of my logic on that. James said, and that's the problem right there. Don't beat me because you think that's what the police are going to do. Sit me down and prepare me for life and things like that of sort. Absolutely. That's the problem. No communicate. Man, James, you hit the nail on the head. That is a problem. It's like I remember feeling I remember feeling like some of the adults, like the kids were beneath them, like they didn't owe you. And I remember hearing that, I don't owe you no explanation, you know. And it's not that to the parents, it's not that you know what, let me back up off of that. Maybe you do. Yeah, maybe you do owe your kids an explanation because they're your kids and they're looking to you for instruction. So yes, maybe you should be able to give some explanations and break this down so that they can learn to critically think. And that's another problem we have in religion. Many of us are not critically thinking because you can't. You've been given something. You don't think critically about your existence here and what's going on. Anything you can't explain, oh, that's God did it, you know, or God said this. So James is hitting it right on the head, y'all. We have to start talking to our children. And yes, this is relevant for the melanated community because it's so deeply ingrained in our culture, not just well, Christianity played its part with the slavery thing, and I think it bleeds over, like they working together, Christianity, slavery, Christianity, and it bleeds over into the culture and how we treat our kids and what we do. Now, don't get me wrong. There may have been incidents, things that came up. I don't know, a boy coming to a man and challenging his father. I don't know. You know, you may have to, things may have to be, there's some gray area there for me. Maybe not for y'all, but there's some gray area there. But all in all, I agree. We got to learn to sit our kids down, have the conversation, and we got to be able to talk. And some of that is frustration, just like we were bringing out on last evening, when Willie was talking about when they would ask or had questions, they weren't allowed to ask these questions because it's like the adults feel like I don't owe you any answers. It's like they took the position that they were taught that God has. Not that they shouldn't be over you as a parent, but they took that position. So if God don't give you an answer or don't have to answer you, well, they the parent. I don't have to give you an explanation or an answer. Well, why is it like this? Because I said so. And then when you come back to the Bible, it's like, well, where did Cain get his wife? Don't worry about it. The Bible says so. Uh, well, what happened after 8 people got off Noah's Ark? Where did the rest of the people? Don't worry about it. God said so. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing, and this is how this religion thing has really jacked us up in some ways when it comes to trying to be better parents. And I have hope. I have hope for the future because as Willie Cartwright brought out, this is probably the first time in decades before that we will have a generation that is less religious than the generation that came before it. And hopefully I mean, it don't seem like it because things are pretty harsh, or maybe they've always been like this. We just see it more because of social media. But I'm hopeful that we're getting better. I hope so. I gotta hope so. Let me see. Chris said, "What loving father really wants their child slash children to ever be in terror of them?" I know I don't. I know I don't. I don't want my kids to be afraid of me at all. A father that's quick to beat their children while being slow to communicate with their children. My discipline had to change when I noticed that the discipline at one point was driven solely by anger. I was saying at one point it was a form of love, but in retrospect, it was honestly from anger. Is a child really going to really open up to someone uh, when someone they're in terror of? That is a good question. Let's let that marinate on the screen and for a bit. And Chris, while I was reading that, I had a thought. I haven't had this thought in years. I remember when I'm about, you're about to get your behind whooped, and I was begging my mama, please, mama, no. And I remember her saying this, y'all. It's going to hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. Did y'all were y'all told that? Were y'all told that? My mother, and listen, I'm not bashing my mother. Okay, she'll see this video, whomever see it. I talk with my mom every other day or at least every week, maybe. And anything I say to y'all, I say to her. She that's the kind of relationships we have. Just my mother has never heard me use profanity, at least not that I know of. But anyway, yeah, y'all heard that. Heck yeah, y'all done got the same thing. It's gonna hurt me. And I used to think, like all y'all probably thought, well, if it's gonna hurt you, then don't do it. Don't do it. Don't hurt yourself. I didn't want to get that physical pain. But yeah, when you think about it, what were they telling us when they said that? They were probably an emotional strain within them, but why did they go through with it? I think a lot of them went through with it because that's the way their parents did them, and the parents got that from the Bible. Then they pass it to their kids. See, I had to beat you because if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. All right. So yeah, y'all heard it. Let me see what Quentin's saying. Quentin, I'm not gonna let you just what I want you to do, man. I really want you to come on live. I really want you to come on live, man. You know what? You probably can't. I don't know if you're at work, but you need to come on in here and get some of this work, man. Come on in here if you can. All right. I put the link up again one more time. Let me see what Quentin's saying. Quentin said, God doesn't want us to be in terror of him. um, Fear God and keep his commandments. We're told that, right? Okay, yeah. He wants he wants us to revere him enough to take him serious and be considered as holy. He wants us to obey him. You know, Quentin, that would work if I had proof of the existence of your God. And you know what? Even if we had proof, how good would that make him? I mean, I just, it doesn't make sense to me at all. Your God seems to enjoy fear from not only his children. He wants everybody to fear him because if we're honest, that's why a lot of people are Christian anyway. They're Christian because they're trying to avoid hell. Even in Pascal's wager, I remember people talking about Pascal and maybe a few months ago, and it's talking about Pascal and he's this great mathematician. I was 9 years old, okay, when I was examining religion, and at the time I believed because my mom believed, and I remember thinking to myself, is this stuff really real? And I thought this is at 9 years old, and I was like, you know what? Well, let's just say he's not real, or this religion stuff isn't real, and I died and I was wrong. Now I'm in trouble. But what if I should choose to go along with the belief, go along with what mom and all them were telling me, and I should find out that he's not real? Hmm, not so bad. And I didn't find out till I was, ooh, in my late 30s about some guy named Pascal had said that. And now I'm thinking he was not brilliant. He was not. I mean, I'm not saying a 9-year-old can't be brilliant, but I thought of that when I was 9 years old, and it's just as foolish. But anyway, let's see. Quentin, let me move through because I want to get to some of my other topics. Let's see. Maurice, what you said. Somewhere in there it says we are to fear. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it does say that. It does say that. Peace. What up, Neo? Neo, you're welcome to come on too. You already know that, sis. The funny thing, let me read this comment here. The funny thing is, many of them don't really fear him. If they did, they would continue doing the thing. You know what? You gotta think about that too. You gotta think about that too. You can't say, "Oh well, they think they're gonna get away with it," because they believe that God sees and knows everything. It's not like they're getting away with it, yet they still go and do the same thing that they know they will burn in hell for, according to the teaching. So that's parenting. Let me do this, y'all, real brief, because I don't think the one on education. I don't know if I'll be on that one too long. I wanted to show y'all a quote from Laplace. This is a French scientist, and I'm talking about how you know what, I'll put it. I'm talking about how religion or Christianity in general has hurt us, hurt melanated people. Not that one, maybe this one. Not that one either. Which one I want to show here? Laplace. Because I'm saying, y'all, that I think that religion has gotten us to the point, or melanated people to the point, where we're going to be behind academically. Like Willie brought out on last night. We're going to be behind academically because we just want to insert God in the gap of our ignorance. Whatever we don't know, the answer is, oh, God did it. Our cosmos, oh, God did it. Oh, how did we get it? God did it. What's the purpose? God. Everything is God, God, God. Whatever you don't know, just insert God. And I want to read. Okay, there it is. There it is. I'm sorry. I have a hard time finding these links. Sometimes I got too many windows open. All right. Just a quick quote for y'all to see. Y'all may not be able to read. I'll try to read it to you. So Napoleon goes to this guy after having read his book. Napoleon, y'all know who he is. He goes to this popular French scientist after reading his book. Napoleon says, when hearing about Laplace's latest book, said, Laplace, they tell me you have written a large book on the system of the universe and have never even mentioned its creator. His response was priceless. And I was he an atheist? Yeah, I think Laplace was an atheist. He says, I had no need of that hypothesis. What does this mean? When I hear this, he's saying if you insert God, some imaginary element, some imaginary agent, being out there in the universe, what is that not an answer for? And if you think that that's the answer, then where does the next thing or further investigation come into play? Because before Laplace and some others, they thought that the sun went around the earth. I'm going to bring that out. I had the text here in Joshua. I want to point this out because, and this is where I'm saying that Christianity, that religion has hurt us because we are so deep. Y'all know what the comedians say. Oh, black people, we love us some God. Oh, black people love us some God. I see that. It's true. But could this be a problem when it comes to us raising up the next Einstein from amongst our race, the next, great science, the next Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an atheist, by the way? What's going to happen? All right. So let's look at what happened in Joshua here. And this right here should prove to people that this is written from a perspective of a human. This is not something an all-knowing, all-perfect being, creator of the universe would say. Because if they created the solar system, y'all, don't they know that the sun doesn't go around the earth, but the earth goes around the sun? Check this out. Let me go to the actual screen and read it from. Okay, I'm in Joshua 10. I'm in Joshua 10. Let's start. I'll start reading at verse 11 for a little bit of context. And it came, they in the battle, y'all. They fighting. Okay, and it came to pass as they fled from Israel and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon Azekah, and they died. Now, this is God lobbing meteors or whatever from the sky onto the enemies of Israel while they fighting. So they're fighting. God say, I'm gonna help you out. Never mind free will, never mind, intervening, let the humans do their thing. No, he intervenes and lobs great stones from heaven upon them. It says, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones. You got to give God the glory, right? Got to make sure he killed more people. It says, they were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. Now that's verse 11. Pay attention to what's about to happen and just do some critical thinking. If you're a believer, Quentin, do some critical thinking on this. And maybe, Quentin, maybe come on and explain this. Verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and moon upon the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hastened not to go about the whole day. Did y'all see the foolishness? Do you see it? Now, you could argue, oh, this is written from the perspective of where we are here on earth. So it appears that the sun was moving, and so God did not interfere with the writer's understanding of the cosmos and the ability, but rather what really happened is that the earth stood still. That's a greater miracle still. Do you not realize at the equator the earth is moving at approximately 1,000 miles an hour? If the earth stood still, we got a problem. You got a whole nother type of extinction level event going on if the earth just stops. That's a whole nother problem. And we don't think of these type of questions And because we are so deep in religion and what it has done to us, we believe stuff like this. And we don't believe what we can actually test. We don't go with empirical evidence. We allow for people like Quentin to come in here and talk about their belief as it is fact. I'm not saying I'm just allowing it, but we gotta start challenging them on it. We gotta start this right here, this text right here alone requires a huge miracle, and it's quoted wrong. The sun doesn't stand still. Okay, I mean, the earth doesn't stand still, but from our perspective it looks like the sun is moving. So those writing this had to say, oh, the sun stood still. And even if you say, no, yeah, we get it, it was the earth, now the earth has to stop. If that, I can't describe all everything that would happen from a scientific perspective, except to say we would not be able to live. You slam into everything at about 1,000 miles an hour. The winds rushing across would just wipe everything away. So, God, think about this. And I think it kills our education. It encourages our children to not think critically, because when they don't have an answer, God did it. When they need to ascend to a higher height in education and they pray about it, no, man, you still got to put in work. You're trying, if you're trying to get that degree, you got to put it in the work. There is not one test you're gonna tell me you don't know anything about the subject. You prayed and then went in and got 100% on the test. Not one, not never, it not never happened. It not never happened. You did not pray. You didn't just forego study and say, well, I'm gonna pray about it and then go in there and ace that test. Okay. We gotta stop doing that to ourselves in education. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat right quick, because I want to move on to a little bit of this business and tell y'all the story about my friend George Carter. James says, let me stop sharing. James says, yes, yes, yes. Written from a perspective of a human, and I have heard it was 325 AD when it was written. Therefore, you didn't even really have scientists back then to verify that the Bible, what the Bible was stating is true. You got to use your common sense. Absolutely use that common sense. But I think religion is part of the problem. We ain't got some common sense because we believe in walking on water. We believe and some guy that truly turned water into wine. We believe in all that foolishness. But he was told that the whole Bible is inspired by God. Let me put this up. But he was told that the whole Bible is inspired by God, that he breathed that into man. Exactly. That's what we're told about the power of God. Let me go back up here. I missed a few from YouTube. What's up, fam, man? Uh you, okay, y'all just chatting. Okay. That's not okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. My next thing I wanted to get into real quick, share story. I'm gonna talk about wealth, business, community building, politics, and things of that nature. And what I want to do is show y'all. I told y'all go to gotquestions.com, right? I go over there because what I try to do is grab a Christian source. Let the Christian source tell you. Now, to the believers, I'm gonna say this. I'm not necessarily getting into whether or not this Christian has the right interpretation. Because Quentin, you know, being in the churches of Christ, like me, you are and I was, basically everybody else ain't gonna make it that's not Church of Christ. That's where we were. That's where you are, Quentin. If you are a member of the Church of Christ, they basically believe if you're not a member of the Church of Christ, you're not gonna make it, bro. You're going to hell if you're not a member of the Church of Christ. Now, let me see this wealth thing. So I had a friend. Well, let's do this. Let's go to the gotquestions.com. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Y'all ever heard about being unequally yoked? check this out. I want to know, what about in business? Can you be unequally yoked even in business? And yes, you absolutely can. Where are okay? Should a Christian run? I swear it's not showing. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I skipped all of it's got like paragraphs up there before this, but for the sake of the show and time, I'm not going into all this in their video. I'm just going to the answer. The answer is, all right. The answer is in, let me see, is this the one I want? Yeah, should a Christian go into business with an unbeliever? It says, 2 Corinthians 6:14 goes on to ask, what fellowship can light have with darkness? People are said to be in fellowship when they share something. Business partners are united in such a way that they must share things. What belongs to one also belongs to another. This is precisely what is meant by fellowship. With these principles in mind, it is best to avoid uniting with unbelievers in business. Do y'all see that? Let me see if I can. With these principles in mind, it is best to avoid uniting with unbelievers in business. This has also hurt the melanated community here in this country, because one thing is for sure, we already got enough division. We don't need some help with our division. I mean, come on, y'all. I think we could agree. We got enough division. We do not need help from religious folk or religious doctrine telling us, oh, don't do business with them. Don't go into business with them. Don't start that LLC with them. Even though it might be world changing, you can't do that because you're unequally yoking yourself. Now, most of the time, that text was used in the context of relationships, which I may not really get too deep into tonight or into at all. But this scripture actually is applied to everything. This has hurt our community as melanated people, because now let's just say I have a good idea. The Christian has the capital, or vice versa. A Christian can have an awesome idea, but they just need the capital, maybe to fund it. But maybe it's the non-believer that has it, and that they could be connected, and we could build from that. But nobody will do the business, or the Christian can't accept it because of texts such as this. They would be unequally yoking themselves in a business deal with an unbeliever. This is a way that religion has jacked our people up. Now, I'm tying the business in with the political side because these things can go together. You know, if it gets better at your local government level, and you see businesses come behind those in local politics and build up. Not saying that people can't be corrupt. I'm just saying in theory, this is how this can work. You build it from the local level and you continue to raise, right? There was a gentleman when I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and I was a minister at the West Side Church of Christ. And I say his name in respect. I have nothing but respect for George Carter, who is gone on, who is passed. Now, he taught me how to golf, how to hold the golf stick, and just whatever I know about golf, which is a little bit, but whatever I know, it came from George Carter. We were riding in the car one day, and I remember he was just sharing with me some of his past. He was an insurance agent. George had done well for himself in insurance, and he was talking to me about how there was some office back in the day, some local office, some political office. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was here in Jacksonville, and he wanted to run for that office. He was a lot younger at the time. He might have been a little younger than I am now, probably around May or close to my age. And another male older than him that went to the church, Churches of Christ, told him that a Christian did not need to get involved in politics. And so George did not get involved in the politics. And here I come along all these years later. George has forgotten all about that, gone on about his life, done great things, but who knows what he would have been able to do on any level here locally in Jacksonville or I mean, heck, all the way through the White House. Who knows? But he was discouraged from getting into that political position because of the religious teachings of the churches of Christ in the Jacksonville area. Now, here I come along, even though I was a believer at the time, saying no. I mean, who better to, at the time I was saying, who better to be in the political office than somebody who's a believer? You get to make some laws or make some legislation or have some influence in that sector. I was like, no, that doesn't even make sense. It's not a sin for you to pursue political office. And George literally, after I broke all of this down at the time, we went over some scriptures. This man literally started crying because he was thinking about how he missed the boat back then because of his misunderstanding about religion and politics. So that is a real life example of how religion has messed some people up. Now, granted, you could say, well, they were just teaching it wrong. However, they were teaching it, it came from some interpretation of this mythical text. So let me show you this. Gotquestions.com again, as it relates to should a Christian run for political office. Let's check this out, what it's saying. And I think there's a little bit of uncertainty from the people that got questions, or maybe they just speaking out both sides of their mouth when they say this. Make sure y'all can see that. Same thing here. I did not go through all of these paragraphs because it's just asked. This is the question: should a Christian run for political office? Blah 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 blah. Y'all can go through that. This last paragraph answers the question. So, should a Christian run for political office? For some Christians, the answer is a definite no. Just pay attention to this. For some Christians, the answer is a definite no. For others, a definite yes. This is a personal decision that requires prayer and wisdom only God can provide, and what he promises to grant to those who truly seek it. Christian politicians must remember that their duty to the Lord must take precedence over the duties of their office. Now, I would say this. This is the problem right here when it comes to having religious folk in power, because they're going to be individuals that believe in the things we've already taught. They're believing in the fairy tale. They're believing in things without sufficient evidence, okay, without reasonable enough evidence to believe the foolishness that is wrapped up in this book. Let me continue. Paul tells us that whatever we do, we are to do it to the glory of the Lord, not our own. If a Christian does seek office, it should only be if he or she can faithfully execute the duties of the office to the glory of God and without compromising Christian principles. Think about that. If you're a non-believer, let it soak in. But I wanted to go back up here and look at what it says. It's answering the question. For some, it's a yes. For some, it's a no. It requires prayer and wisdom only God can provide. How are you to distinguish that from a person just saying, yeah, I think I want to do it. Yeah, I think I don't want to do it. Yeah, maybe I'll do it. What did God say? And if it's that simple, what do you need the man for? George Carter could have simply went into prayer and God would have told him, yeah, man, you ought to run for office. No, man, you shouldn't run for office. Why all the back and forth? Why all the confusion about it? It makes no freaking sense. Let me see what the chats, then we're going to go into this self-image, because self-image is very, very important for melanated people. I think some of I think our negative self-image goes into a few things, even in our finances. Some of us don't have the discipline we ought to have in the finances because when we get a little money, we got to have the latest this on. We got to have the latest drip. We got to have the latest this, that, whatever. Third, Jordan, stay outside late, 4 o'clock in the morning because somebody's shoes coming out. Just, eh. I'm sorry if I offended you, but nah, we got to get our junk straight. But anyway, I want to get into that self image. After pointing that out a few of these comments. Let's see what we got here. Da, 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 da. Religion has corrupted us, definitely. Someone close to me. Oh, check this out. Maurice said, someone close to me won't vote because God is in control, and it doesn't matter who is in political office. That's a person that believes, hey, and I'm not saying, I think everybody to each his own when it's come with that voting thing. Some people have different ideas of it. Some people have lost their confidence in the whole voting thing and whatever. I'm I'm kind of along that same lines myself when it comes to the voting. But if I feel like it, I'll go and do it. I remember when what was it? I think it was, I don't want to say Obama. It was sometimes I went to go vote and it really didn't have anything to do with anybody on the ballot. It was just that it was such a racially charged time that I got in my mind, I'm going out here for nothing else for them to see my melanated face out here, making the decision. That was my mindset at one point in time when it came to that. But yes, you got people that won't participate in any process or any political process or any type of change or legislation. They won't get involved because they say God is going to fix it. Let me say to that person, Maurice, this is what I say. Because that same person probably believes that faith, like James said, faith without works is dead. But I add to that, not only do I say, okay, you can have faith without works, may be dead to you, but works without faith still works. I ain't got to have faith to make some changes out here and go out here and do something. Yeah, your faith without works may be dead to you, but works without faith will still work. And I would tell that person just like that and leave them where they at. Brother, are you an atheist? Um, I consider myself, is that Lions time? You know what? I probably Lions. Neo, is this that person you told me about? Because if it is them, boy, they be making some accounts real quick. I don't know if it is. It seems like you're outside the box. Religion is a matrix designed for the mind. I don't know. You sound like you kind of double minded. So I'm gonna let you be where you at right now, and I'm gonna continue on. Yeah, I told her that. She says we are not understanding. That's what it always is, right, Marie? You don't know what you're talking about. So when James said that faith without works is dead, he was talking about literally doing something. He said, I'm not looking at it, right now, but he says, I will show you my faith by my works. In other words, for a person to just say they believe and now get out there and do something, I'm putting on my pastor hat. For a person to say that they believe and not get out there and do some things based on their belief, that's what James is saying is dead. It don't mean anything. If you're gonna say you believe in God, but then you're not going to, I believe that's James. I think that's around James chapter 2, if I remember correctly, because James is a book that also deals with if you see your brother who has need of the things of this world and you have the ability to help them, but you shut up your bowels of mercy and you don't help them, like Willie was talking about last night. Somebody needs something, you got it, but then you just say, I'm gonna pray for you. And that's supposed to sound all pious and good because you said you're gonna pray. Even the Bible tell you if your brother have need of something, okay, and you got what it is they need, You're supposed to supply it. Go and do it. So here you are with this education, this political education, this ability to do some influence, make change for melanated people. You could get us some better schools. You could get us some better jobs. You could get us some better whatever. But you're going to sit back and say, yeah, I'll pray about it. Nah, if you're a Christian and you got that kind of faith, you need to put in some work. But I guarantee you, I ain't gotta have faith. But if I put in the work, it will still work. Point blank, period, boy. Yeah, it's insane, bro. It's insane. All right. Now, I'm almost out of here, but this next one, y'all probably know it may even upset you. Neo said the internet. It may even upset you. This one that I'm about to play, it may make you mad, but let's see. There is a politician. This is why maybe believers don't need to be in politics. Cause I don't know if she recanted. I know this was said a few years ago by Kimberly Daniels, whatever office she holds. I I don't want to say too much about it because I don't know. Maybe she realized the lunacy in what she said a few years ago. So I'm gonna just it's only a few seconds. I want y'all to hear this and just let it marinate a little bit. Let me get the tab up. Okay, I'm gonna get the tab up. And we won't be long after this, y'all. This lady thanks God for slavery, y'all. This lady thanks God. Again, you kill. Thanks God for slavery. Y'all listen up.
I thank God for slavery. I thank God for the crack house. If it wasn't for the crack house, come on, somebody, God wouldn't have never been able to use me how he can use me now. And if it wasn't for slavery, I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree.
Bruh. That went too quick. Y'all need to hear it again. Y'all need to hear it again.
I thank God for slavery. I thank God for the crack house. If it wasn't for the crack house, come on, somebody, God wouldn't have never been able to use me how he can use me now. And if it wasn't for slavery, I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree. Worshiping a tree. Somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree. I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree. I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree.
Y'all see this crap? Do y'all really understand that Christianity hurts black people, melanated people, whatever you want to classify us as? It hurts. This lady is a lawmaker in Florida. This lady is somebody's pastor, even though when you look into the teaching of the Bible, women aren't supposed to be um, usurping the authority in the sense of teaching over a man. And I'm sure there's some biological men in that congregation. This is complete and utter foolishness and denial of the self-image. This lady just said if it wasn't for slavery, okay, I know there's got to be, some racist somewhere saying, that's what I'm talking about, Kimberly. We did y'all a solid. We did y'all a solid. Hey, y'all be over there worshiping them trees and such, singing your jigs and such. Just straight freaking dumb. Yeah, this is what religion can do. And I'm pretty sure she's an educated woman in some ways. I don't know if she went to school. I ain't look her up. She's not that much worth of time. But I'm just saying, look, just let that marinate. It's only a few seconds clip. This lady actually said this. If it wasn't for slavery, she'd be somewhere worshiping a tree. And notice how she tied her worship in with slavery And a big part of slavery, the part that they use to make us more docile, as we covered on last night, is they use that spiritual system, that religion, that there's always a slave master up there in the sky watching. And if you do good, if you do good, you're gonna be able to go to heaven. Okay. You ain't gonna get no heaven down here, but if you do good, boy, you're gonna get you some heaven. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me see what y'all saying because I'm about to get up out of here. Just I'm sorry, but yeah. I remember when I was a kid, kids roasting children from Africa, saying the same thing, shaking my head. Okay, Lions, all right, yeah. And it was foolish, y'all. So check this out, y'all. That is a blow to our self-image. You know, here's the thing about it. If they are worshiping the tree is real. I can see the tree. Maybe the tree gives a certain kind of fruit. It helps me sustain life. It's right there. I can get the fruit from the tree, take that fruit and the seed, and plant it and get another tree. I'm just saying that's real. This stuff we reading about in this book is made up. So who got to be the bigger fool, Kimberly? You or the African that worships a tree? I'm gonna go with the African being the more intelligent one. All right, I'm about to close, y'all. James, what you got? And this is the thing. Just because you are educated still does not mean that you should be an advisor or an influencer to others. She's a firm example that absolutely, it's supplying oxygen. Yeah, the tree gives you oxygen. It's active in this cycle of life that we have here on earth. When you look at the God of the Bible, it's really anti-life, like we were saying again on last night. God probably killed some 10 million people in the Bible, or millions of people in the Bible, while the devil's count is maybe 10, Job's family or whatever. And that was by him being allowed. That was by God being persuaded by the devil to go ahead and let him do something. She's speaking like a fool, like a foolish tree. All right. And I think the tree would be more intelligent than Ms. Daniels here. So listen up, y'all. We're gonna come back on Thursday night and close this part out. I plan on us just talking about prayer. We can talk about all of it, slavery, or whatever. But next week, I'm gonna focus in a little bit more on this prayer and how we say prayer changes things. We've done this before. I'm hoping to have another guest come on with me. Now that's on next week. Now Thursday, finish this. Let's see. Oh, Neo, you in here? I'm gonna let Neo come on. She just hit the link. So I ain't gonna get off his sis gonna come on. Neo, can you hear me? He cursed the fig tree for no reason. I know she said that her connection is not the best, y'all. So I'm gonna try to give it a moment. But I was just about to change it up. Actually, nature is
My mic was muted. Can you hear me now, brother?
all right. You in here? We hear you. What's up, Neo?
Okay, I ain't gonna stay on here too long, but I'm catching bits and pieces of what you're talking about, and you playing that last video, the lady, the minister, that lady preaching. Do you know that
Mm-hmm.
somebody got me on video saying the same exact thing? Like the indoctrination is real. I
Wow.
once said that I think God that the reason why my ancestors went through slavery because we could have been still in Africa worshiping false gods and worshiping the sun and all that. I actually said that before. But
Wow.
what I hope your audience learn from this is that's why it's important to know that learn thyself, learn who you are and learn the origins, and don't let nobody teach you God. Seek God and learn God for yourself if you still want to choose to believe in a God. But you got to seek it for yourself. No books on this earth can teach you God. It's not how that works. Everything you need to know about God is written in your essence. But that show you how the indoctrination can make us say something so foolish, as if she's better than people who worship trees. Your God is invisible too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, but I just wanted to clear that part up because I saw that
I'm
video.
not I'm not gonna leave you. I wasn't gonna go there. I was trying to get off, but I'm not gonna leave you hanging because I don't remember when I actually had the thought, but I know it was some years ago. I thought the same thing, like, well, dog, if there really is a God and he's about this and helping us with all of that, then maybe the whole reason of him allowing that, because I was trying to rationalize why would he allow the transatlantic slave trade. And at the time, I was like, okay, they wouldn't have known about Jesus and we wouldn't be able to be saved. So that's just the way that the people do. I can't blame God for the people and how they brought us Christianity. That was wrong. But yeah, maybe that was in God's ultimate plan. So I feel what you're saying because I used to think the same thing, but now looking back at it, giving into more information, more critical thought, it don't even make sense because the thing is, when you look at it, there were people like in my original argument about hell. There are people that will and have died before even the slave trade happened. There are people that wouldn't know anything about Christianity and die before knowing anything about it. And therefore, to me, well, as I understand the New Testament, that invalidates the whole thing. And that's why I say the God of the Bible makes no sense. The God of the Bible does not exist in that regard as to what people believe the God of the Bible truly is. So, yes, we need to know ourselves and learn yourself. So, anything else? I'm checking out, y'all. I'm about to get out of here.
Hey, peace, brother. Just make sure I got a debate Saturday on SAW
Oh, okay.
on the 18th. So make sure you check me out on that because you remember I'm going to be doing atheism versus omnism. Which one is more practical? So
Okay.
yeah, make sure you check me out and support me on that because you know I don't pissed off the conscious community with my last videos, but it's all good.
I'm gonna come up in there because you know what we talked about that community. I'm gonna support my sister. So guess what? You got a link or anything that he sent you a link?
Yeah, when it comes up, I'll make sure I send it to you or at least send you a text to let you know it's live. So because it's gonna be
Shoot
on
me
his.
that so I can share it. So I can share it with the community here, just in case they not in that circle. I want to share it because we gonna come see about you.
All right, when he send it to me, I got you.
All right, I appreciate that, sis. You be safe out there. Take care.
All right, peace, brother.
Peace. All right, family. We about to get out of here, and I just want to say thank y'all for rocking with your boy. I'm gonna keep on trying to bring y'all the information as I get it. Thursday night, we're gonna be back in here, and we should be with a guest on Thursday night. And on next week, I plan to have a special guest with me as we're going to be talking about prayer. So yeah, y'all. I think I wanted to say this. Thanks to those who have been supporting the platform and helping me do things I need to do with my time and with my finances. And I got more books and I got some things I got coming to y'all to try to give back for what y'all doing for me. I do not take that for granted. Y'all work hard for the financial support that you send this way. If you have any ideas or things that I can do that might help you, topics that I need to cover, y'all get in touch with your boy. I'm not unreachable, and we're going to go into it. Well, with that being said, truth is my only religion, peace and love.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything. Some people open up their eyes to see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials in life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. Then I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And that conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything, your reflection. I can find God in anything. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything. When I talk to God, I find God in anything. When I talk to God, my daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped the song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decisions of breaking the mental chains of these man-created religions. Cause faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear it's one hell of a mental illness. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. Peekaboos, guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or some stories about a guy walking on water sides. It's simply a distraction to keep you away from you, and to look outside for a God when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to, when you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you. You can see God in anything, your reflections in it. I can find God in anything, I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything, I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything, I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything, I'm reflecting in.